The Trans Am season opened in St. Petersburg, Florida, with a street course that was dominated by three-time series runner-up Ron Fellows. In claiming his 16th Trans Am victory, the Toronto native seemed almost untouchable. Could '96 prove to be the year where so much potential would finally deliver a championship? But then came Homestead, the spanking new facility in South Florida. There, two-time and defending Trans Am champ Tommy Kendall made the challenge clear. Fellows would not have an easy time of it. The 11th win by the Mustang driver was but a harbinger of things to come. Next came the shores of the Pacific, as Long Beach invited these street warriors to compete at America's oldest and most prestigious temporary circuit. There, a new face took the top step on the podium. Jamie Gallus, holding off more seasoned, more race-hardened veterans to claim his first Trans Am victory. Could the 24-year-old represent the changing of the guard? Oh, not quite yet. In spite of, or perhaps because of 9 lead changes over the course of 100 miles, 43-year-old, 89 Trans Am champion Dorsey Schrader took the checker in the Arizona sunshine. Schrader's 14th career win made it clear to all that this year was going to be a dogfight. And by the way, it evened the manufacturers' battle between Ford and Chevrolet at 2 wins apiece. Finally came last week's race at Mosport, Ontario. There, the ancestral home of the Canadian Grand Prix hosted this season's first north-of-the-border brawl. And it was Chevrolet's own Paul Gentilozzi who, for the 3rd time in his decade-long Trans Am career, earned the appellation Victor. 5 races, 5 winners. 5 men who've defined this year's series as the most competitive in the history of full-bodied stock car road racing combat. What better way to celebrate the 30th anniversary of North America's most prestigious road racing series, the SCCA Trans Am Championship. Not since 1973 have the first 5 races of a Trans Am season had 5 different winners. You can rest assured none of these 5 men want to see that string stretched to 6. Today, the sound of tourists driving through the lush and rustic Connecticut countryside are replaced by some of the most definitive sounds of motorsports. 640 horsepower V8s. Rumbling around Lime Rock Park in the Berkshires in a 180-mile-an-hour game of King of the Mountain. Hi, everybody. I'm Mike Joy, delighted to be here for this Memorial Day celebration of speed. In just a few minutes, even the trout in the Housatonic River will feel the vibration and the rumble of the V8-powered Trans Am cars. This is the 18th appearance of this series at Lime Rock. 1967, Peter Revson drove to victory lane on a track that is short, but requires a great deal of momentum. There are a lot of places here that can catch the unsuspecting or unwary. It's a track that demands total concentration to reach the victory podium. Who would know better than my broadcast partner, former Trans Am champion, David Hobbs?
Well, Mike, they say the best things come in small packages, and Lime Rock Park is relatively small, 1.5 miles around and only 7 turns. But all of those turns are very, very different and present different challenges to the drivers. Last year, Ron Fellows, going down the downhill, the fastest corner here, had this rather spectacular crash. It also happens to be a very important corner because it leads on to the long front straightaway, at the end of which is turn 1, or Big Bend as it's known around here. And the Big Bend is very important because that's where you're going to see most of the overtaking into Big Bend this afternoon. And this whole complex, Big Bend turns into turn 2 and then into 3, and this is the one place where the drivers can really get up a good rhythm. And as I said earlier, you're going to see most of the overtaking into turn 1, with some people maybe sneaking by on the way into turn 2. With more, let's get down to Bart Kendall.
You're looking at the car of Boris Said. Right now it's sitting 5th on the grid, but because of the SCCA's inverted start, Boris is actually the quickest qualifier. He was a driving instructor down here at Lime Rock for 2 years. He knows his way around this track. You see Boris just about ready to get into the car. So if there's going to be a 6th first-time winner this year, my pick is Boris Said. However, there's one other guy I'd like to call attention to, and he's sitting a row behind Boris in the 8th spot, and that is Scott Sharp. He's a 2-time former Trans Am champion. Just flew in last night where you might have seen him run the Indy 500. Finished 10th there. He was also the Indy Racing League champion. Scott's won here before. He could be a guy that could be the 6th different winner this year. Back to you guys.
Well, now, if you've checked your local listings, you know we're going to be with you for 3.5 hours today. Everybody knows that a 100-mile Trans Am sprint doesn't last that long, so what gives? Well, let's join 1969 Trans Am winner Sam Posey.
Thanks, Mike. When the Trans Am is over, the action will stay at full stride here at Lime Rock, because the next cars to take the green flag will be IMSA's 2 fastest classes. This World Sports Car, 650 horsepower, ready to propel it to over 200 miles an hour. A car built for racing and for racing only. And don't confuse this GT car with anything intended for the street. It too built for racing and racing only, around a tubular space frame, 650 horsepower, also over 200 miles an hour on tap. So when the battle is over between Ford and Chevrolet, stick around, because here at Lime Rock, things will be about to go exotic. Back to you, Mike.
Thanks, Sam. Ron Fellows straps in and gets ready to ride. This weekend, stock cars, Indy cars, sprint cars, and now the fastest road race cars in America. Next. Round number 6 of the 1996 Trans Am Championship today at Lime Rock, Connecticut. Before we set the field, let's check in with David Hobbs in this week's Auto Week update.
Last week in Mosport Park, Ron Fellows, the Canadian champion and of course the local hero, was expected to dominate the weekend, instead of which he went out with his blown engine. And that's the 3rd time that Ron's had problems this year. A blown engine at Long Beach, and of all things, a flat tire in Phoenix. Ron, I mean, this year's just not going according to plan at all. I mean, you're just having a string of bad luck. That's all it is, right?
I sure hope so, and I hope it's going to turn here pretty quick. I mean, you can't not, we got to finish. You know, like when you had, what, 1 DNF in '83 when you won the championship? We've had 2 so far, but I think fortunately, the guys are working really hard. But you know, we're going to have to get some top 3s between now and Reno. That's the bottom line. Jesus, I mean, we're trying hard. Trust me.
All the cars in Trans Am are carrying this sign, and we certainly do wish Candy Maldonado well. He got hit on the head last week by a nitrogen bottle in a freak gust of wind, and he's at home recovering now. Paul Gentilozzi, for 3 years, he's tried to win one of these races. That checkered flag's been awful close. It's been beckoning, and then there's always something just gone wrong. But last week, from flag to flag, Paul Gentilozzi, you won the race. You must feel great.
Well, David, the whole team feels really great. This year, I felt a lot like Rodney Dangerfield. I couldn't get any respect from anybody. We were fast in qualifying, fast early in the race, but just couldn't finish. Now that we've got that behind us, we're going to be a lot of trouble for the rest of the year.
The lead driver for Ray Bessis and Tom Goy, of course, is Dorsey Schrader, winner at Phoenix, tight second in the championship at the moment, and a champion driver before. But not only is he a champion driver, he is an instructor for the Skip Barber Racing School and always has been, and he's instructing one of his opponents. Dorsey, what are you telling him?
Well, we're trying to help Bill Allaby. You know, I worked for Skip Barber so many years around here, instructed at this racetrack all my life, so just trying to help out. Bill came over and needed a little help. I'm trying to get him around here a little bit faster. Maybe not hurt him, though.
And what did he tell you to do, Bill?
Well, he said lose 20 pounds and grow a little hair.
This update has been brought to you by Auto Week magazine, which for a limited time only is being offered for only $19.95 for 52 weeks of exciting racetrack action, a saving of $80 off the regular newsstand price. Don't wait, this offer won't last forever. Call 1-800-232-1520. That's 1-800-232-1520. Call today.
On Friday for practice, they had one of the largest crowds in the history of Lime Rock Park. Today, the place is packed. Here's what they'll see. On the front row, Dorsey Schrader from Missouri in a Mustang and Greg Pickett's Camaro.
On the second row, Ron Fellows, winner from St. Pete, and Tom Kendall doing his 62nd Trans Am start.
Boris said the third on his home track in a Ford, and Brian Simo in the Valvoline Mustang. That's row 3.
Row 4, we have Paul Gentilozzi, last week's winner. Alongside him, Scott Sharp, fresh from Indianapolis yesterday, and of course, the new IRL champion.
He just met Bill Saunders. His Camaro will share row number 5 with John Gooding from Florida in a Roush Mustang.
On row 6, of course, is Jamie Gallas, who's the points leader at the moment, starting 11th spot, doesn't like that, alongside Dale Phelan, back from that big crash in Long Beach.
New Englander R.J. Valentine from Massachusetts in a Camaro, and Don Maluzio from Pennsylvania, also in a Camaro.
On row 8 is Don Sack in one of the Oldsmobiles in the race, and Bob Ruman from Ohio.
Row number 9, John Miller IV from Tennessee in a Camaro, and Dominic Toto out of New Jersey. He's in an Oldsmobile.
On row 10 is Jerry Simmons from Canada in a Camaro, alongside Ted Sullivan, also in a Camaro.
Frank Ciopatini, who calls Lime Rock his racing home, and Vinny Musicaro and Bill Eagle. That's the way the rest of the grid will fill out here. They're all in Chevrolet Camaros and all veteran club racers in the Northeast Division of SCCA, taking a turn at Trans Am racing here at Lime Rock today. The field is set and begins to roll out around this 1.5-mile circuit. There's Tom Kendall ready to go to work, and Dorsey Schrader. Park in Connecticut, where it is a picture perfect postcard day for racing in the northwest corner of Connecticut. First of 2 pace laps underway. Temperature mid-60s, bright sunshine, hillside full of race fans. As they round through the S's on this pace lap, the Trans Am point standings look like this. Jamie Gallus with a victory, Dorsey Schrader, Tom Kendall, Paul Gentilozzi, Ron Fellows, the top 5 in driver points after 5 races. There's Scott Sharp. That's why he made the trip back here from Indy. He's 6th in the points. Saunders, Simo, Valentine, and Pickett. That's your top 10. Manufacturers line up like this. Chevrolet, 41 points. Ford, 35. Oldsmobile also represented in this series. Across the short chute to West Bend. That flat right-hand corner and that gravel trap, the undoing of many a racer here at Lime Rock Park.